The world of smartphones is very interesting, from like iPhones to Androids. Phones in general really do have like different sources of like materials and also OSs like iOS and Android. But even though these are basically competitors, not these two because we're not up in 2016 anymore, I want to talk about an Android phone which I bought very recently, about a couple weeks ago, which I'm very surprised to say is actually a phone that I would say is worth it in 2024. This is the Moto G Stylus. So let's talk about it. And yes, it is a Motorola. I know that Motorola is not a massive smartphone brand. I mean, yes, they have had the new Motorola Razr and everything. I mean, I bought this phone about a couple weeks ago for the price of $60. It was prepaid. I'm actually really impressed. I've actually been using this kind of as my second phone or my main smartphone for the past couple of weeks, alongside with my iPhone SE. Take note that the iPhone SE that I have is a 2020 model. It's an iPhone SE 2 and it came out in 2020. I bought this in 2023 for the price of $150 and it's been an okay phone. It's been pretty good for what it's been. Nothing too special about it. But this guy, I bought from Walmart offhand, just from a prepaid carrier for the price of $60. Originally, it is $130 if you were to buy it unlocked from Motorola. Externally, I will immediately say that yes, it is a massive phone. It's actually a 6.5-inch phone, and it's massive. It's actually huge. Like if you were to compare this with even the iPhone in the case, you could fit the iPhone SE in the same size and more in this phone's footprint. It also has double cameras with a 50 megapixel sensor and a 2 megapixel micro lens. It's got a blue background, which is made out of plastic. We've also got a headphone jack, USB-C, a speaker, which not only is one speaker on the bottom, but also it's a dual speaker setup where basically there's two speakers, the front firing and also the bottom speaker, so it's also stereo. We also have a stylus right here, which is basically the name of the phone, Moto G Stylus. This display itself is actually not that bad of a display. It's a 1600 by 720 panel, so not 1080p, but it is a fairly big display. It's also a real hole punch as well, so you can see that. I mean, it's got a little bit of a chin down there, but nothing too bad, I would say. I would say that the design of this phone is very much caught up with the modern era, especially when the fact that we also have a real hole punch, not just a huge chin and a protruding camera that just suddenly comes out of nowhere. I mean, it seems like it's a natural phone with the fact that it comes with a real hole punch and everything, but also dual cameras, and the design itself is nice. I wouldn't say it's like the best materials and everything, but it is fairly reasonable. I would say that it's not a bad design at all. I do have to say that this phone runs Android 13, so it is running a fairly high-end version of Android. I know that some phones, older phones, will run older versions of Android, which is not particularly a good thing if you're trying to get yourself a fairly nice phone. I mean, this phone has been good enough for what I've been using it for, which basically is everything. But also with it coming with 64 gigabytes of storage and 4 gigabytes of RAM, it's able to keep up very much with the modern smartphones. I mean, it's not gonna blow them out of the water or anything. It's gonna be able to keep up fairly nicely. And also the cameras themselves, if you're looking at like trying to get bright shots and everything, it actually does them very, very well. The camera app itself makes it look like it's a lot worse than it should, but after the processing of taking a photo, it looks freaking amazing. I really like that. I forgot to talk about the front-facing camera while I'm editing this video. I have to say that this is an 8 megapixel front-facing camera. It is filming in 1080p, so it does look pretty okay. The battery as well, it's able to last all day with normal usage. Normally, if I'm using this phone all day, it goes down to like just over 50% of battery. The battery lasts all day, which is great for like, if you're needing a phone that can last all day with heavy tasks. I bet on a heavy game like Genshin Impact, it would be amazing, especially with it being able to just keep up. I'm not sure about graphically on this guy, but it should be able to keep up really well. It certainly does a lot better than a budget iPhone like the iPhone SE, which, I mean, the iPhone SE is not a bad phone at all. It's just, it is really out of date when it comes down to like everything like that. Like if you're wanting a phone that is able to just do everything and keep up with like being modern and everything, this is the better guy. Even though this is cheaper, only 64 gigabytes of storage, and this would be the better option because it's cheap. You're able to do a lot of the things. Also, it's not really that slow. Also, I have to say that this also comes with a 90 hertz display as well, which means it's gonna look a lot smoother as well. Even though, yeah, you can see only in 60 frames per second on this video right now. And no, the wallpaper is not a reference to a future video, even though it probably is. I don't normally try to do Geekbench scores or any of that stuff most of my reviews, but I feel like that I should at least try to show them. Here's the Moto G Stylus with its score, but also here's the iPhone SE score. Is it gonna be up-to-date Android phones? No, it's not gonna do that, but is it gonna be budget phones like the iPhone SE? I bet it probably could. Like, it's probably gonna be a little bit of a struggle, but I would have to say, it's not a bad phone at all. But also, what are my thoughts on this phone? The design itself is very good. The size is, honestly, I thought it was way too big for me at first, but actually I found it really nice in my hand. The cameras are not bad at all. Like, the 50 megapixel sensor on the back they're gonna look close to the iPhone SE's quality. Take note of that. It's not gonna beat the iPhone 15 Pro or the Samsung Galaxy S24, but it is gonna be able to beat an iPhone SE, and it's actually gonna be really good for photos. Videos, I mean, sure, it runs at 1080p at 30 frames per second. I'd rather do 60 frames on an iPhone, and also even this camera. The performance is really nice too. The screen is nice. The storage is actually something which I think that at the price of 130, it's good for what it is. Although because phones are going higher up in their storage capacity baseline, I mean, this is not gonna be able to compete for too much longer. So I would say very good phone. Definitely recommend it if you're needing a cheap option. You can buy this for $130 from Motorola themselves if you're wanting it unlocked. But if you want to buy it prepaid like I did, it's gonna be like $60 at Walmart. Like, just look for the Moto G Stylus. Or just look for this box. Definitely recommended. Thumbs up. So I gotta say, thank you guys so much for watching this little review on the Moto G Stylus. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment, like, subscribe. I'll see you guys later when I talk about the iPad mini. Bye.